Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. There was a woman who said that when I was a little girl, my mother would always tell me, if you have $10 and you give $2 to charity, how many dollars do you have? And I would say, $8. And she said, no, you have $2. Because the $8 you're going to buy candy and toys, but the $2 you gave to charity, that's what you really have forever, for all of eternity. In this week's Torah portion, we read about the passing of the first Jewish couple, Abraham and Sarah, the patriarch and matriarch of the entire Jewish nation. And what is their legacy? Their legacy is chesed. Chesed means kindness, but more specifically, it means loving kindness. What is the difference between chesed and just ordinary kindness? Kindness could be to your family, to your friends, but chesed particularly is the kindness of Abraham and Sarah, which is just motivated by love, for no ulterior motive. And therefore it's expressed to strangers, to others, to people who are not necessarily part of your family, friends, or community. And that's why in this week's Torah portion, when Abraham sends his servant Eliezer to find a wife for his son Isaac, who will carry on the legacy of his parents of loving kindness, Eliezer comes to the well. And he says a prayer and makes a sign with God. He says, the girl that will come to the well to draw water, and I will approach her and say, can you please give me some water from your jug to drink? And she will say yes. And not only that, let me bring water, draw water for your camels. That's the girl who's destined to marry Isaac. And of course, Rivka comes and says, I will draw water for you and your camels. And she becomes the next matriarch of the Jewish people to marry Isaac. Why was this the test? Why was this the sole criteria? Because that was the trait of Abraham and Sarah, loving kindness, but particularly to a stranger. Eliezer arrives in town. He's new to the community. No one knows him. And here, let me help a stranger. And not only help them, but help their camels as well. And this is the trait that our patriarchs and matriarchs imbued in the Jewish people, which continues until this very day. This Shabbat, as I was leading services on the Bima, I see in the back of the synagogue, in the back row, there's a priest with his black collar, black and white collar, and I'm like wondering what's going on, why is he here? Then after the service, I discovered that he's a neighbor of one of the families that was sponsoring Kiddush this Shabbat. And so he came in honor of his neighbor's Kiddush. And he sat through the entire service, the prayers and the Torah reading and the sermon. And then this week I received a beautiful email from him. And he thanked me for the experience. And he said, I have to tell you that first of all, I love your Chumash. He says, I'm going to buy the Bible, the Chumash that you used in the synagogue, because I loved all the rabbinic commentary on the bottom of the text. He maybe didn't experience this before, where we have thousands of years of rabbinic literature expounding on the verses of the Torah. But then he said in his email, I have to tell you, I have the most welcoming congregation. He said multiple times, I was welcomed by people, I was thanked for coming and invited to come back. And he said, a matter of fact, when I walked in, someone immediately got up out of their chair and pointed to me to sit down in their seat. This is what it means to be a Jewish community, to welcome others. If someone walks in, they may not be Jewish, they may be a priest, but let them know that the Jewish people follow the traits of Abraham and Sarah, the traits of loving kindness to every single human being who is created in the image of God. Just because someone is not created in your image doesn't mean that they're not created in God's image. And that's what's most important. Have a wonderful day.